I only got paid $4,000 for this episode. That's not enough. No. Yes.
No.
Welcome to the next episode of VGXL. I'm your host, Daniel, aka Games. Joining me again is the beautiful Fefer from the channel Fefer, and voice over drama of the week. And more drama. God of War is a ps4 game. Did you know that, Fefer?
Yes.
And Silent Hill is back and better than ever. Are you excited?
No. Nah.
Leon Kennedy lit up a cow on
Poor
fire to kill a bunch
PETA
of
out here.
deranged zombie people and said, "Bill me
get
letter."
him out of here. We don't want him here. Get PETA in. Save
Pita,
the cow.
let's stuff some of that cow in some pita. Give me some tahini sauce. Oh, the tzatziki sauce.
Tzatziki, yeah.
Anyway, how you doing, Fefer?
Good. How you doing, Games?
Oh, not too bad. I know we got a late start here, but we made it, and I'm just happy that we made it. We're here, we're back, we're better than ever.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, how you doing?
I'm good.
Anything interesting happened this week on your streams? Play any interesting new video games or old video games?
I went and as you already know, I love Puppet Combo. I love their aesthetic. They're just I like their goofy style in certain games with specific devs, specifically Jordan King. So I went back and I played Booty Creek Cheek Freak.
Oh, you said it right.
I said it right. I had to think about it. I paused real quick. Booty Creek Cheek Freak. And I'm currently still playing through Night at the Gates of Hell.
Okay.
Booty Creek Cheek Freak was really fun. I had a really good time. There was one part it got like I was a little slightly annoyed, but I got through it. It was great though. I definitely 10 out of 10. I'll get de-cheekinated again. Yeah.
I love that term, de-cheekinated.
De-cheekinated, yes. But other than that, I mean, I just did some makeup yesterday on my stream, so
that was
yeah,
fun.
actually,
It was good watching your pumpkin face. I enjoyed it.
yeah, I actually have a little snippet here. This is what we did on
Whoa.
stream.
You look so menacing. I love it.
I know, like, what do you mean God of War is a PS4 game? Yeah.
You are the pumpkin queen. You can do anything.
Yay. But yeah, that's been fun. That's been fun. What have you been playing this week, Games?
Oh, well, a few things actually. So I actually kind of fell off a little bit on Valheim, just a little bit. Kind of sad about that, but definitely want to go back to it this weekend. It's just that, things are starting to come out. So Plague's Tale Requiem, I started this week. Very, very pretty to look at. But I have I guess so far I've put in maybe like 2-3 hours into the game, and I guess if I had any complaints gameplay wise, it's kind of more the same on that front so far. Like it's which is not even necessarily a bad thing, because it looks so gorgeous, and they like kind of fleshed out like you walk through towns and stuff and you see people, and it's like I like what they did with the game. It's really good. Like it's really pretty and fleshed out and detailed. So I thought that was really nice to look at.
What I've seen on of you playing, I have passed by while you're playing, and it does look really nice.
Yeah, I gotta say,
really
like
pretty.
Even playing, I was always gonna buy it on PC anyway, since I had the first one on PC, and it's not a multiplayer game or anything. But it's on Game Pass, so it's like so this is actually one of the first, like, not the first, I guess this is the first time it feels like a real next gen game is on Game Pass. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, because this is next gen only. There's no Xbox Series, Xbox One X version or anything like that, or original Xbox One version. It's strictly next gen. It feels next gen with a lot of the shadows and the lighting. And so to get that on Game Pass felt really good. Like this is the first time that it didn't feel like like a mediocre game or something like that. And I don't mean that like, not bashing Xbox, I mean Game Pass rather in any way. Just a lot of the games are either cross gen or have been out already or just nothing like that spectacular. Even though the selections are great, they've had some great selection. I'm just saying there hasn't really been like that big AAA, and this is like the closest that it's felt. I mean, yeah, you had Halo, but again, that was another cross gen, and you had other games on there. Again, I'm not bashing it. There's a lot of fun games on there. Just this is the first time it really felt like I'm getting my money's worth on. Like this really feels like holy shit. Like this is a game I would have spent $50 on. I think it's only 50 anyway. I would have spent $50 on easy. You know what I mean? Or even 60 full price I would have probably paid for it. So to not have paid for Plague Tale feels great. Like that actually feels really good. And then
I get it.
And then for the game that it is, graphically it's great. I just want to get more into the game so I can see better. And then I tried out that new looter shooter, the first Descendant. And so far so good. The shooting feels nice. It's a little bit there's a couple of bugs in it. It needs a little bit more time in the oven. Obviously it's a beta, it's not out yet fully, but it looks like it does have promise. It looks like it's probably gonna be one of those very busy games to keep you engaged. You'll probably end up, I'm sure there's going to be monetization to look cool and stuff like that. But
yeah, I'm sure
lots of potential for like I honestly wouldn't mind having like that free to play looter shooter. You know what I mean? Where all the content is there and all your grinds, the grinding is there, and the option to spend money is just on cosmetics or whatever, which is not necessarily the worst thing in the world, because it's like you still get a fun fleshed out game, and if cosmetics is what you spend later, then that's cool. If it has free to play, I mean pay to win aspects, even if it is for single player stuff or whatever, or just a PvE game that has like I don't know, that always makes me feel weird, and I never want to invest money in shit like that.
Yeah, no, of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like also,
how long is the beta going to be going for this game?
That's a great question. I have no idea. I think it's only through the weekend, I think, but
okay. Just asking because I'm gonna want to try to check it out myself.
Yeah, it's third person perspective, so that's good. And let me see. I don't know. I didn't look it up. I guess if you want to look for it, by all means. But
26.
To the 26th. Oh, that's not too bad. That's all the way till like what, next week? Pretty much. Oh, the middle of the week. Yeah, middle of next week. Okay,
Wednesday.
Yeah, that's not too bad. All right, so yeah, definitely give it a try. I mean, it has like a really great POV like slider, so you can you can either be closer to the character or all the way out, and it feels good to shoot stuff. Yeah, it feels good to shoot monsters.
That's what I need.
Yeah, and it's pretty. Okay. So I think you'll like it for what it is. What else? Oh, and I started the Call of Duty campaign. So if you pre-ordered the game, they're allowing you to play the campaign, and so far so good on that. Like that's gorgeous. That game is really pretty, high frame rates. The guns feel good. In the in that mode or whatever. And I'm enjoying it. It's actually hyping me up for next week because it finally drops next Friday. Or probably a couple of days sooner. If I got to see if there's like any way to play it a little sooner, but I'm excited for that. Nice. So
nice.
But that's really it. I haven't really played anything else this week. Yeah, I'm just trying. I'm like, wait, did I play anything? No. Yeah, just Valheim, and like I said, full games wise, it was mostly Plague Tale Requiem. So I mean, my time on Valheim is probably going to be limited because I have a feeling I'm probably going to end up wanting to play more probably play more Plague's Tale, throughout the week, and then Call of Duty comes out, then God of War comes out in 2 weeks, a week after that. So I'm hyped, or 2 weeks after that, yeah. So, but yeah, there's a lot that happened this week. So, if you've been following the news, there's a lot of drama, a lot of things. But so before we get into that though, if you're not already following, definitely give us a follow. You can follow, you're already here. So, but it's at VGXL Podcast on Twitter if you want to engage in the podcast Twitter, or Video Games X Life everywhere else. I do stream on Twitch usually Sundays and Mondays. If we do the podcast a little earlier next week, maybe I'll stream on a Friday, maybe on a Saturday. I have to consider that, but I might just do Friday to Monday might be my days of trying to get stuff done. Do the podcast and 3 days of streaming a game. So maybe Saturdays. What do you think about that? Should I stream Saturday?
Yeah, give it a go.
At least for a couple hours, right? Maybe, I'm enjoying Plague Tale a lot, so I may or may not stream that tomorrow. Just to show it off a little bit. I feel like not enough people are talking about it, and you would think that these fanboys would, the Xbox would be out here like promoting this game that came out looking, on Game Pass. It's a next gen only Game Pass game. Like, and I know the ponies would say, well, it's not a surprise they don't play games, and it's just like, it doesn't matter. It's still cannon fodder. It's still ammo rather to to say, like, I'm surprised no one's really talking about that game. And that's what sucks. That's the part that sucks. All this fighting back and forth, a really gorgeous game comes out that I would like to see get attention, because I don't give a shit about.
Yeah, no, it definitely needs the attention.
Yeah, because I don't give two shits about a console war, but it would be nice to know that more people are getting their hands on this game. I thought the first game was really well done. I mean, if you like, and I've told you this off stream or yeah, let me finish my thought. If you like things like Last of Us, whatever, like where there's a lot of stuff involved. This, even though it doesn't, I won't front, the story is not as deep, but a lot of the gameplay mechanics are cool. The rats are cool. The puzzles and all that cool. It's like, I would think more people would like this game. You know what I mean? Especially that this one adds more stealth options, especially. But anyway, we'll get into that. And I'm sorry, Fefer, where can everybody follow you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Fefer Plays, as well as on TikTok at Fefer Plays, Instagram Fefer Plays with 2 S's, and on Twitch at Fefer.
All right. So here at VGXL, we normally like to go over some game news and discuss what we like to play, as you already heard. And and if you're watching this on YouTube, hello everybody. And if you're listening on the podcast, I mean, not only are we on YouTube, we're also do audio only versions on Spotify, Apple, and Google and other other YouTube other podcast listening apps. So if you're listening to the podcast, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate you, and please give us a thumbs up so people can find the live stream or whatnot. But yeah, let's move on to some news of the week. And there's a lot that's going on. There was like we said before, that drama. Let's see. So one of the first things I guess we can discuss is G4 is finally gone. Giggity gone. So
what a shame.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch any of it.
It's true. So. I mean, I won't lie. I wasn't really. I saw some of it, and it was already kind of like meh. It's like pretty much they weren't doing anything better that YouTubers weren't already doing, right? Like I already watch a bunch of YouTubers. I mean, Game Ranks already does a lot of game coverage, and you have
there's already too much of that already out there, situated and with their own content.
Exactly, and it's like to go to these cringy ass like pre-product like very produced things where they're being kind of corny and cheesy. It just wasn't working for me. And I mean, it didn't help also that the controversy that happened very early on with the personality of that Frosk chick who like guy she got a few things wrong. And while I don't promote like being this nasty to people, it is unfortunate part of the gaming sphere where when you get news wrong, and this applies to men and women, you're gonna get shitted on. and it happens all the time to other podcasters I listen to and other talent out there. They get shitted on all the time. Anything they get wrong, any thing that they thought incorrectly, they get shitted on. And so she acted like, because it wasn't happening to the guys there, that it was sexism. And I'm like, and people make the crappy jokes of, she, that she's not that as attractive as the old host or whatever. It's like, come on, it's just it is a dickhead thing to do. But when people are behind a computer, there's just a level of like certain
They're
things
too comfortable.
Yeah, you have to
just
expect it
start
a little
spewing
bit.
stuff.
Like, yeah, to shit, and then you didn't have an audience big enough yet to go shitting on the little audience that you did have and accusing them of being assholes, and then saying, oh, if you don't like it, don't watch. And I'm like, and I feel like they, the little bit of audience they did have definitely stepped away from that.
Yeah,
So,
it just pushed a lot of people away.
and while I don't think it was either way, they were probably gonna go down. That just definitely didn't help. You know what I mean? I just think
Of course.
I think
No,
like
I mean they were given
can-
what, like a year?
yeah, I think you can go about that a little bit better, than shitting on your audience. And yeah, they were only given a year. So
Yeah, Comcast gave them a year. They weren't able to get to where they needed to be, and
apparently they were only
here we
getting
are.
like 1,000 people watching the actual cable channel. Not that really means anything, because at the same time it's like it's TV. Like nobody watches TV.
I know. Wait, people actually still have cable services
Exactly,
nowadays?
right? It's like actual TV service. Like it wasn't
Oh
grandma and grandpa
gosh.
watching G4. Like, but yeah. But if you want, you want to bring in the next news story there.
This year,
Yeah, the next one.
super people going into early access.
That's the next one.
Super people's going into early access. When are they going into early access?
It's already. It went into early access. But yeah, so Super People's it's a do you know what Super People is?
Yes, I know that's the shooter. It's wannabe I forgot, frying pan, chicken dinner.
Chicken dinner.
But then you get all the superpowers by getting all the pills and whatnot. Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely very much gives PUBG vibes or whatnot.
PUBG, thank you.
But yeah, it's like
Yes.
superhero PUBG. So you have third person or first person. You pick up all the different guns and gun attachments. You drop on a city. But the gimmick on this one is that there's like red, green, and blue pills that give you different types of powers. Each person, you have different classes, like Apex in a way. You have different classes, and each class has their own level up system, has their own abilities that you can get as you progress through the match. So you start with I think you start with one ability. I'm not sure if it's random or not, and then as you go, as you loot, you find pills. And you can, and when you take those pills, then they give you some new ability. And like I said, there's red powers, green powers, and blue powers, and depending on the character you pick, those evolve. So it goes into there. So yeah, so it was an alpha. So when you saw me, it was like just an online test, open alpha test that when you saw me and the boy playing, and now it's it's going into a full early access, meaning it's essentially released, and it'll evolve into, I guess, not early access anymore. I'd probably give it like 6 months to a year, while getting community feedback. This is like the community feedback phase. You know what I mean? Now they have a functional game. Now this is the community feedback phase, which where now it'll probably evolve even more throughout throughout its life. But I recommend it. It's free to play. I recommend trying it. It's another Korean based free to play game. It does have its monetization where you can but you can grind for the loot. I mean for some of the currency pretty easy, and obviously then there's the special currency for cosmetics. Because you can buy, there's like two currencies, one for cosmetics and then one for like setting up your, you get a chest or a loadout drop that you can call in, or it drops randomly, I think, like throughout the match, like halfway through it'll be like, oh, it'll show that your loadout is available. And you use gold to open that box, and that's gold. You can grind for gold or you can buy the gold, but it's fair so far, it's fairly easy to grind for the gold, you know what I mean? And then you can have like a bunch of, depending on what you put in the box, that's how much it costs. So if you put like the best pills and the best guns, and you put like shield, like level 4 shield, you have to, it's like you're buying it, you know what I mean, in the middle of your match.
Doing a la carte.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to buy those things, and yeah. But yeah, that's
nice.
that.
Yeah, they currently have like a Halloween outfit out there. So it looks pretty cool. You have the witch's hellfire and the vampire's crimson veil.
Yeah.
And that looks pretty cool, actually.
So then we have next we have the Sims is the new Sims game is starting its production. So they made they had an event, and they showed a little bit of the game. Apparently it's really early, but it's going to be focusing on customizations.
Yes,
I think
planned.
I think more online stuff, and then while making Sims 4 free to play, at least the base game of Sims 4 free to play. So I'm sure that this next one is probably going to be something similar. I'm sure they're going to try to figure out some way to do monetization. But did you see anything on the Sims?
No, not so much. I haven't seen. Usually, maybe I'll see any outbursts of the Sims community or anything. I haven't actually seen any of that.
But yeah, that's cool. So yeah, it's probably really far out, so I doubt we'll see anything on that for the next at least couple of years. Whatever. But yeah, that's what's happening with that. Did you want to take the next? Are we gonna switch off on headlines or no?
I was not aware that we were just switching like that. Okay.
You asked me before we started.
I said to here and there. We didn't specify.
Oh, I thought you meant. Oh, I thought you meant now.
Yeah. But they did drop a new Final Fantasy 16 trailer for anybody who's been keeping up into it, and it's got some really good stuff in there. I'm very excited. I'm like, I can't wait to see. I did notice Games actually pointed it out, because I didn't realize at first, but there's only a bunch of humans, Ahures exactly, but I don't know.
I know. Yeah.
Well, you pointing it out, it's sticking out to me now. I'm like, damn, how do I feel about that? But it'll be great. I'm excited for it. So either way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess thinking about it though, I guess first of all, we haven't seen everything.
No, we haven't.
But if you really look at it, I mean, 14 is essentially the same, right? Everybody who runs the nation. Well, no, that's not true, because you have the different races. There's only humans in this. What I was gonna say was that maybe there's beast tribes and other type, or equivalents of what a 14 beast tribe would be. But the fact that they didn't throw any, and I'm sure there might be like some kind of other races. Like if there's no other race in the entire game, that's gonna be a little disappointing. Even if the story is great, it'll still be a little bit on the disappointing side that they didn't, they haven't thrown in other like talking races and stuff like that, where you had that in older Final Fantasies. So I'm hoping that that maybe they just don't run the nations, and that's all it is. They just happen to not run the nations, and maybe they just weren't ready to show these other races. Yeah, who knows? All I know is that if it's only one race, and that's like only humans and no other like talking beings, that's going to be a little bit disappointing, especially coming from Yoshi P.
Yeah.
That he loves high fantasy and he likes this type of shit. Even the Dragon Age, I mean the not Dragon Age, what's the other one? Oh my god, I'm drawing a freaking blank on this.
Dragon Quest? No.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Dragon Quest.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Dragon Quest. So I believe even in the Dragon Quest series, you have like other races and stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, maybe I am, but pretty sure they have like other types of looking people in that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not just humans, but like I said, we haven't seen everything yet, so maybe it's coming later. Who knows? Maybe we'll see. Like I said, maybe there'll be other. Maybe they just don't run the nations, but they exist. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
that's the only thing I could think of, because I mean, look at the icons and all that. Like those, So
Yes.
we'll see what happens. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That I'm definitely excited for that though. I love their little snippets that they do come out with, because it's like it gives you a nice tease, and then it's like, okay, that's enough. You're like, wait,
exactly.
wait, but where's the rest of it? Yes,
I
and
know. But what's good though, he did just mention they're on the home stretch. They have what is it like? They have just bug fixes and polishing, and the game should be
mhm,
ready. It seems like everything else is done, so the game should be ready by the summer, like they're saying. It looks like we're on track for that. So
mhm,
I'm super
mhm.
excited for that. If you're a 14 fan, definitely. Even if you're not a 14 fan, like if you're any kind of Final Fantasy fan or action RPG, this probably will be a good one. And they showed some moments in there that looked like they're gonna be insane. And it's
Mhm.
definitely gonna take a lot
Mhm.
from 14. Like I already see there was that like quick boss battle they showed, and he looked like he was
Yes.
running alone in an arena, and I was like, oh, that definitely is something with, like you
Yes.
can see that 14 influence in there. So I don't care. I think it's
Absolutely.
gonna be good. The only sad thing is I think it's only a solo adventure. I don't think he's gonna be in a party, and that's the thing that
Yeah.
we haven't seen yet. And if it's really just one person fighting, that kind of sucks. If it's just gonna be like the one guy, again, we still have a lot that we haven't seen, and there's still time,
Mhm.
but um I really
Yeah.
hope.
Well, I guess we'll see if they have any friends that join along the way, or not.
Exactly. I think there will be, but
Hopefully.
let's see what I guess. Yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes, because this will be the first Final Fantasy without a party system ever in the history of mainline Final Fantasies. Like, there's not one other game that doesn't have you as the main, have several other characters, and not necessarily controlling them, but at least in the party doing something, fighting with you.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we'll see what happens. But yeah, moving on to the next one. Call of Duty may not appear on Game Pass for a number of years due to apparently the existing deal. So pretty much the reason why this is coming to light a little bit more now is because, again, if you're following right now, the biggest battle that Microsoft is having right now is the CMA, which is the, what is it, the people who pretty much deal with mergers and stuff like this and acquisitions over,
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's what it stands for, the Commission for Mergers and Acquisitions over in Europe or the UK or
Mhm.
whatnot. And placed this guy Jim Ryan has some pull over there, so it seems like they're kind of like, Microsoft's mad at them pretty much for adopting their view on it, and thinks that this, instead of using like real evidence and logic, blah 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 blah. And I think one of the things is this. It's like, hey, they're not even gonna. It's not even gonna be on Game Pass. Here's Sony crying about, oh, Call of Duty and blah blah blah. But it's gonna be years before they get Call of Duty goes to Game Pass. So it's like, so either way, they can't even, they have to sell the game, they have to keep it cross platform, they can't put it on Game Pass. So it's like, what are you guys crying about? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, which,
Mhm.
not for nothing, in my opinion, I kind of agree. It's like, I'm kind of getting tired of the whole thing. And honestly, Sony's not the greatest company in the world. They're, it's like, I like the games, I like some of what they do, but Sony as a corporation can be pretty shitty. And it's like,
Yeah.
yo, compete. I want this merger to go through, because if it will force Sony to compete. It means
Yes, it
that
will force
now,
their hand. Mhm.
right? They won't be the big dog anymore. So it's like, fucking compete then. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Oh, I forgot to throw this in there, but since we're talking about Sony, being that they own Bungie before Halo. I don't know if you know this, but before Halo, one of their earlier games was a game called Marathon, and there's actually some like connections before they, obviously before they let go of Halo. There was connections from between Marathon and Halo. So like if you played an early, if you play what was it, Halo Reach, before it got like revamped or whatever, you play, let's say you play the old version of Halo Reach on 360, you
Mm-hmm.
there's a Destiny poster in the game that says
Yeah.
Destiny awaits.
That's
and
cool.
and the Mark 4 or Mark 5 suit that Master Chief wears in Marathon, they wore like Mark 2 or Mark 3 suits in that game. And it's about a rogue AI, and pretty much like you can make a whole fan theory out of it. Like pretty much like there's Easter eggs that leading up to Halo. So like it's like kind of like saying like Marathon and Halo and even Destiny like could be all in the same world. This, it's the same developer, so they put little
Yeah.
Easter eggs. So Marathon actually hinted at Halo before Halo ever released, and so
That's
they're
cool.
actually going back to that IP, but it's going to be a Tarkov, obviously. So it's going to be, there's assumptions. Remember NetEase, which is like the big, what is it, Chinese like mobile,
Mm-hmm.
people that they were buying up and making contracts. They think,
Yeah.
the speculation that this is the game that they were going to make for NetEase. So it's going to be what they call it, a oh, I forget the type. Like it's a Tarkov, but it's like a dispatch, or you land, you loot, and exfil. You know what I mean? Like you get out of
I
there or
see.
whatever. Just like a Tarkov game. So that's
Mm-hmm.
what they're gonna be creating. And it's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
under Sony.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll see what happens. I just think right now Sony knows this shit's gonna go through. They're just buying as much time as they possibly can. So if they can buy a couple more years to let them build out a couple of more games, then Call of Duty won't even matter. And honestly, I feel like this fight is for nothing, because I feel like a lot of people are finally outgrowing Call of Duty a little bit, because I don't know, the general consensus is like people care about Warzone more than anything, and Warzone will probably never leave Sony, Sony's PlayStation, especially Warzone 2 is about to drop, so that got years on it before a Warzone that
Mm-hmm.
isn't supported anymore. So
Yeah.
so they have some time with the Call of Duty franchise, but most people care about Warzone um more than the actual base game itself. So this whole fight might all be for nothing by the time it goes to Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know.
Hmm.
Speaking of doing things for nothing, Netflix is opening a new studio, game studio, excuse me, led by the ex Overwatch person. I forget his name, but yeah, they're going hard on the whole thing. What do you think about it? Do you think Netflix has a chance to make a?
They're trying really hard. They're trying really hard. They're putting out games on Netflix. You have people downloading all these different games on mobile. They're trying really hard. I feel like they're because they've been in the news on the internet in the past because they're too woke, they're too this, they're too that. Now they're trying to apply the extra fees for the extra users because if they can see if they're not used in the home, which is whatever. That's besides that's kind of
Yeah.
dumb if you use it for work and you travel or anything like that, but okay, Netflix. But I don't. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm a wait and see. But I think this is. There's too many new studios trying to really make their come up with the older generations of producers and devs and all these people.
Hmm.
Some are going to rise up and do good things. Some are gonna make some transaction games.
and NFT games.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I'm with you on that. Like, it's like right now it seems slow and they're doing slow and steady, so they're slowly releasing game here and game there. It doesn't look like they're going all in.
Mhm.
It takes years to make games, so it's like it's hard to do that come up. It seems like it's probably going to be mobile, cloud based or whatever. Then
Cloud,
it's like,
yeah.
because people all have phones. Don't you all have phones? And because it's like how are you going to implement that through the TV, if it's even possible. That's number one. Like they would have to sell some kind of controller or some do like Stadia where you have a dongle or something that connects. Like I don't see how they're gonna do it just yet. If they want to escape the console, like, because pretty much put it like this: Sony's never gonna let Netflix compete with them on their own console. So that's probably, like it would either have to be a service through PlayStation, to allow some of their games, or these got to be games that don't in any way how can I say it? Yeah, like pretty much it got to be original stuff. I feel like if it's original stuff, Sony would allow it. If it's their own stuff, like hey, this is a Netflix game, you can.
That makes sense. Netflix originals. Okay, here, this is something we have to offer you. Here, let's throw this on PlayStation, and maybe they'll work with them. But if it's
Exactly.
something like let's say behind your eyes that they just brought to the Netflix, well, not just, but a few months ago, if they're trying to push that and put that on PlayStation, like, no. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's on PlayStation, but let's pretend it's a game that's already on PlayStation. Like, why are we going to waste our time having you bring that game to our console, our system, when we already have it here?
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I can see if it's original content and it's maybe a downloadable version. It's not like cloud-based, it's like a downloadable version, but if it is cloud-based, then I could see it being a service through PlayStation Plus.
Mhm.
Like you pay, I don't know, an extra couple of dollars, and it's part of your PlayStation Plus subscription because they take a cut, from Netflix. Like that's the only way I could see that working. Kind of the way Ubisoft or EA Play, like those things do exist on the consoles. So other people's subscription service can work. So they'd have to really work a deal out with PlayStation to say, okay, make that part of your PlayStation Plus, package or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But and I'll bring this up here since it's kind of relevant. So actually no, it's actually next on the list. That Xbox is also doing something similar that's similarly weird with the whole, they want to build a mobile game store to compete with Google and Apple. And this whole thing has been kind of bothering me because like, how do you do that without your own phone line? Like because they used to have Windows phones. Unfortunately, it kind of brought me back to that moment that I remember that phone I bought. That Radio Shack almost destroyed because he pulls the phone out of the box with a screwdriver, scratching up the whole phone.
Yes.
A $500-$600 phone that I paid cash for. I paid that shit out of pocket. No contracts or anything. I hated the phone. You had the option to return the phone. I hated that phone because Windows software just did not have much support. It was cool. The interface was all right. I didn't mind some of it, but like simple things just did not exist that were on Android. And I was like, I cannot do this. Like it had some cool ideas with the Windows phones or whatever for a little bit there, but ultimately it was like the support just was not there. A cool app that came out for Android or iPhone was just non-existent on the Windows phone. It was not worth it. And yeah, but anyway, so the only thing I could see them doing is, which I'm not sure if the article says that or not. I should have done a little bit more, looked into a little bit more, but the only thing I could see them doing is like competing with Google's like Pay Pass or Apple's Arcade, not necessarily the full blown app store. I think what they're trying to do, if I had to take a guess, is that they're gonna, which I'm sure would be allowed, is that they would allow like a Game Pass, local Game Pass for mobile. You know what I mean? So let's say you want to play I don't know, you want to play Call of Duty because now they own it. So let's say they want to do Call of Duty mobile and and I don't know, whatever other game they want to offer, that if there's a mobile version for it, you can play it probably through your subscription through your phone. That's how I could see them doing it. Like you can either can buy the games through the phone, or you can play on Game Pass, and but I don't see like free to play, or maybe that they don't already own, because now they own King, right? So now if you want to play what's that called?
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush, you might have to go through the Xbox app. That's the only thing I could see them like getting people in there. Like you have to use this, and then when you're in there, now you see, you know, whatever, Call of Duty Mobile and Fortnite and this and because now you know Fortnite might be part of that because they're saying, oh, bring your own credit processor, and that's what Epic wants.
Yeah.
You know, Epic wants that so bad. So I don't see how they could compete on Apple's device, but you know, again, it would have to be either some cloud-based thing or which they're already doing. So I don't know. I'm like at a loss for this. You have any thoughts on how they could maybe do that?
I mean, they were just what they just came out with that Logitech gaming handheld. I mean, maybe they implement something on there. I don't know.
I guess you're right. That's still a Google device though, but I guess you're right. Like they could have a highly modified, like the way the Kindle does it, like a highly modified version of Android that's dedicated to Windows Store. Like you don't get the Google Store on there. You only, you know, or whatever. You only get, you know, it's still Android, but you only get the Microsoft Store. Some bullshit. But then again, at the same time, they made Windows 11, I think, natively compatible with Android. So maybe that's gonna be like the give and take there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, our Windows devices can run Android stuff. Like, and you know, I don't know. I'm just guessing here.
Yeah, I'm sure they're working on that and trying to figure something out. And
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from that. Yeah. Other weird nonsense from this week was, you know, the whole Bayonetta thing. So I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have heard by now. You know, so the original voice actor for the main character in the game was, you know, told that she was only going to get paid $4,000, which it does seem a little sus. Like
it does seem very sus. Yes.
Like in the sense of like almost everybody gets paid per session. You're telling me they really said, no, we're going to give you 4K and it's going to be like, how much was each session? You weren't going to record the whole thing in one session, were you? Like that doesn't make sense to me. So, but so was it like $1,000 per session and the whole thing was going to be $4,000, or are you full of shit?
Exactly.
Because why not say it like that?
Exactly. The way she put it out there, she's just like, I was offered $4,000 for the whole thing, and that's insulting with all of my experience throughout these years. Yep. So I want you to, instead of buying it, donate that money and just don't get the game
and boycott the game. Like
boycott the game. Yeah.
That's a fucking stretch.
Crazy. Twitter went berserk. You have people commenting on Hideki Kamiya, and he's just like, okay, well, everybody deserves whatever, but be aware of my rules. And his rules were, don't comment on my stuff on English or you're getting banned. So he was banning everybody left and right because, you know, the internet has no chill.
Yep.
And I mean, who has time to look at rules or cares about rules? So he was banning everybody, eventually deleted his whole Twitter profile.
I think what happens is that he was banning so much that Twitter has like those safety measures in place that
it got restricted.
It restricted the shit out of his account. Yeah, because it looked like something was weird was going on. I think that was automated. At least that's what I was hearing, some speculation on that. But like you know, and then obviously everyone is taking sides. You know, people are getting angry. Like I'm still gonna buy the game. Fuck that. And just because you didn't get paid, why do I gotta suffer? Blah blah blah. Like people are getting angry at the thought of potentially not buying this game they've been waiting years for. Because Bayonetta 2 came out on the Wii U, I think. Like it's been a long time coming. Like this game has been like 5 years in the making, or 7 years, something like that. It's been a long time
2014.
Since see, almost 8 years then. Yeah, 8 years in the making. People have been waiting for this game, so that's why I'm like, for you to come out 2 weeks before or a week before it's released to start this nonsense, and then it does sound like a lie, like because then they came out and said no, it wasn't $4,000. That's it. It was $4,000 per session for 4 or 5 sessions, which means upwards of $18,000 to $20,000 she was supposed to get from this, or $15,000 to $20,000 she's supposed to get for this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
which is, I guess, not bad. I mean, four or 5 sessions, $20K. I mean, maybe it's not the best money in the world for a voice actor, like compared to like a regular actor, but I mean, $20,000 sounds better than 4, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So it's like
Mm-hmm.
that makes more sense, because a lot of times, other people have come out and they said, "Oh, I got paid this or that," but it's usually per session you get paid. So it's like, you're telling me they were going to pay you $4,000. That's it. You didn't get paid per session. That was it. And without proof. And apparently Bloomberg came out and blew the lid off this whole shit. And said
Yes,
and
they
then
did.
VGC also came out and
They
said
confirmed
they
it. Yeah.
corroborated that story. So it's like, I don't know. Now the whole thing just turned into a fucking bullshit thing that it's like, I don't even care anymore. And that's what sucks, because it killed the whole conversation on voice actors.
It really did. And it sucks because then everybody's here attacking like Jennifer Hale, and she's just like, I want everybody to get what they should be receiving. Voice acting is a big thing, and like she's a big name. And then you have people like attacking her like she did anything. She's just an innocent bystander in this, just trying to do her own job and get her own bag.
Yeah.
And then after all that, everybody's all this stuff coming back out from Bloomberg and everything, then you have her Helena Taylor just being like, I don't like, pretty much like, I don't want to worry about this. Let's just get back to what we were doing. Like, you started ruffling everybody's feathers and now you just want to be like, oh no, I'm good. And you're not even trying to show proof because you got called out.
Exactly.
GG. Get out of here.
That's crazy. It's like,
It sucks. It sucks.
I don't know, man. It's like she goes and does all that, and then it's like all for nothing. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of annoying, throughout this week, because it went from one thing to the next, and it just ended up being garbage. So whatever.
Indeed.
But yeah, so then but anyway, in better news, so there was a couple of events this week. We had the Silent Hill event. That was actually first, so we'll talk about that. So they're re-releasing Silent Hill 2. By Bloober Team, they're remaking it or whatever. And a lot of people are not happy because Bloober Team hasn't really made a good name for itself. I didn't really realize, like, I don't know, as maybe I'm just ignorant, oblivious. I didn't really know that or pick up on like at the end of the medium how they kind of make their take on mental illness like is like people should suffer because they're mentally ill. And I think the whole thing with the guy who's kind of a pedophile, they kind of made it too lighthearted, you know what I mean, making it like an apologist kind of feel for the pedophile guy who was in that, you know what I mean, just because he was in love and he and I realized that part, but so apparently a lot of people just don't like Bloober because they just think that their opinions and views on that stuff is just very, very, very flawed. So to see them do a beloved franchise like this, people feel like it's not right or not fair. So there's that. I don't know. They didn't really show any gameplay for part 2. I never really played part 2. I know it sucks, but I never played part 2. And so I guess I just didn't have that much hype for it. There's like 4 new games coming out. Ascension, 2 remake, Townfall, and F or whatever, Silent Hill F, which is a brand new game, blown game. The only one that honestly has me any kind of interested is what Annapurna might be working on, right?
Yeah.
Townfall, something like
Townfall?
that. Yeah. I looked it up. I was like, oh, that's right.
Townfall. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So apparently, that's the only one that looks that sounds interesting, just because I like Annapurna and the stuff they've put out. So
yes.
I kind of want to see what that's about. I mean, F as well, because it's going to be a Japanese theme instead of American theme. A lot of the Silent Hills were in America, so more American themed or whatever. So that'll be a nice change of pace. So we'll
Mhm.
see that. But I don't know. Until I see more, I really didn't care. And it's weird. I wanted to care. I wanted to be excited for it. When I heard there was a Silent Hill event, I was like, "Oh shit, what's gonna happen?" And it was just like, I don't know. I guess there, at the same time, a lot of this stuff was already talked about.
Yeah.
We knew Bloober was working on something. We knew that another
Mhm.
developer, like I think Annapurna, was hinted at a while back as well. So I kind of already like knew some of this. So I just didn't care. I don't know. What about you? I mean, you didn't really play Silent Hill growing up, right?
Yeah, exactly. I played like a little bit of the first one and I got to the school and mind you, I was a kid, so I was just very creeped out and I just kind of got super creeped out and stopped. Between the dogs jumping out at me, they're in the fog and whatnot. By the time I got to the school, I was just kind of done. So
Yeah.
that's the extent of my Silent Hill gameplay. Thank you. I'm happy for everybody who's excited for it. I mean, and in regards to Bloober, I mean, I guess I've never really picked up on that either in regards to how they kind of just work around with the mental illness part of it and that aspect. I don't know. I guess call me a simpleton. I play the games. I take it for kind of face value a lot of the times. Um Not for nothing, but we did kind of try because the end of the medium with everything that happened throughout that whole game, we did try to kind of analyze it and it was just kind of a clusterfuck confusing kind of thing going on because there was so much going on in it. But
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Layers of Fears because it was that itself in itself was a mind fuck. I am looking forward to Two Layers Too Furious. Layers of Fears to be specific and exact. But
Hmm.
I like my title better. But I mean, if everybody's ready for it, Adokata is out here talking about Pyramid Head.
Mm-mm-mm.
So we'll get to see the Pyramid Head that everybody swoons over and
Oh, he didn't swoon over no Pyramid Head. That was the one game that made him quit, never look at that game ever again. I don't blame him
well,
though.
he went further than I did. I got to the school in the first one, so
Yeah, the first one was pretty crazy for what it was. But yeah. Um what else? Sorry, I have post here. Oh yeah, Resident Evil. So yeah, so we got that. Now Resident Evil, that's the thing that got me hyped. Like Resident Evil got me way more hyped than because
Resident Evil looked good.
I gotta say,
It did.
like, they showed a bunch of stuff like the third person mode is coming and the
Yeah,
updates to
yeah.
Reverse, but the crown jewel, the main thing was definitely Resident Evil 4 remake. That game, everybody was like, why? When they first announced that it was coming, and I gotta say though, the fact that they're kind of sticking to the core gameplay, the core feeling, and it feels more of a like an engine upgrade and a modernization more than anything.
Mhm.
I think it's gonna be great because, as you already fucking saw, it's Leon Kennedy, action hero, fucking star. Like I said earlier in the fucking show, how he lit up a whole cow, talking about send me the bill. Like it fucking roasted a bunch of people by lighting a cow on fire. Like that, the nonsensical wildness of that is Resident Evil 4 is amazing, and I cannot wait.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're upping the horror aspect while keeping the goofiness of it and the over the top wildness. I'm sorry, I think that's like getting me super hyped to play that game. That's probably going to be like one of the best games of next year. I remember calling it from now. It's probably going to be one of the like better games of the year, even though it's going to be a cross-gen game, another cross-gen game. Still, that game's going to look fantastic on modern consoles and PC, and I think it's going to be a hell of a time.
Exactly. That preview itself was really great. I love wacky games, so that brought me in. I only played the first one, what, last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played the first one
Was that
last
last year?
year. I don't even know what is time.
I know, right?
But I think I played it last year. Um and I enjoyed the hell out of it. for what it was. It's
Mm-hmm.
cheesy zombie shooting self, and but I don't know. Now I got to go on to 2, but we'll work our way to 4 because Leon Kennedy looks kick ass.
Yeah. Like I think it would just benefit a little bit just to because some old characters do show up that showed up in part
Mhm.
2. So I think
Mhm.
it's worth playing part. You definitely don't have to play part 3, but definitely play part 2. Play his story. I mean, at this point, you might as well play his Leon A. So there's
Okay.
Leon A and Claire B, and then vice
Mhm.
versa. And then there's Claire A and Leon B. So whoever you start with, the other the other person has a different experience. So yeah. So I
Is
think,
wait,
huh?
is Barry in there?
No.
Good. Fuck Barry.
Barry's not a bad guy.
I
Jesus.
know, but still, he was a jerk. So
Yeah.
I still feel bad for my ending.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to do that.
I told you.
Um but yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm hyped. I'm hyped for Resident Evil 4. And then I saw, since that came out now, and now that all the buzz is happening about, the expansion for Resident Evil 8 and 4 remake, people are wondering what's the next remake. And so it was asked if what about Code Veronica, the real part 3? And the thing that got me mad is that it's like, oh, some players consider Code Veronica the real sequel to part 2. I'm like, because it's literally been reported that it was intended to be the real sequel to part 2. 3 is literally not a sequel. It's a semi. It's like a prologue and epilogue of part 2. That's what
Okay.
part 3 is. It shows you everything that led up to the events of part 3, and everything that happened in the city right after the event. I mean, of part 2, excuse me. And the events that happened right after the events of part 2, 24 hours later. So it's 24 hours before part 2 and 24 hours after part 2. That's
Interesting.
Resident Evil 3. So so pretty much you revisit the police station, you revisit all those areas, like so you get to see the police station again, just from from a slightly different perspective now, which I didn't really like back then, because it's like things were, if it's 24 hours before, why are things barricaded and like crazy looking? They had to block off areas because you don't get the full police station, obviously. So it's
Mhm.
like, they it's like they have to randomly block things off, which I feel like is dumb, because it's like, like it doesn't explain how they got to really do anything in this, in actual part 2. But either way, you can part 3 is so unnecessary to play. It's so unnecessary. Like, Code Veronica,
So
really, they should have did it right. I feel like what they should have done was do Resident Evil 1, 2, and then Code Veronica, and then do a part 3, as like an extra, or maybe release 2 and 3 at the same time, and then Code Veronica, and then do a part 4. Like, I don't know, but I guess they want to kind of get part 4 out the way, see if there's still a want for it. And I think there's a huge opportunity for Code Veronica. It's not as well known. They can change up the story, because it was kind of cheesy the first time around. Like, no one's that attached to Code Veronica, in my opinion. I don't think many people are going to be that attached to that. If you change a little bit here, a little bit, I mean, they changed part 2 so much for the better, but they still changed so much, and nobody was really mad about that. Whereas this, you can revamp the story, redo a lot of the scenes, and you still have a nice big game that you can reference, and people, you have another game on your hands, like another remake, and they'll have the full lineup. And then
mhm.
there's still 0, and technically they could upgrade Resident Evil 1 a little bit if they wanted to, like remake the remake, because Resident
Yeah.
Evil remake the original Resident Evil came out in 96, and then the remake came out like less than 10 years later, in like 2002. You know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
like, so it wasn't that far later but it was a full blown like remake, like different engine, different acting, different play style. Like, that's you played it. You had the
Yep.
knife that you can jam in their head. You had to light them on fire to bring them back. That's all brand
Yes.
new to that remake, because the original part 1 did not have any of those things. So So they don't have to, but I feel like they could, maybe just a little engine upgrade. Don't change much else. Just upgrade the engine and rebuild the game with the modern engine maybe, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Um
Yeah.
yeah, so that was that. I mean, that was the biggest takeaway, like just watching Leon blow shit up. But yeah, now some
That was
some
great.
so I should have brought this back up with the other like drama for the week, but Gotham Knights apparently, finally dropped fully. It was true that it's locked at 30 FPS on consoles, which is fucking bonkers to me. I'm sorry. Like a next gen title like that should not have. But I think I have the reason.
Oh.
Because based on all the reviews, pretty much it's a grindy as hell game, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you have to
Mm-hmm.
grind for loot, grind for, it has a looter, puncher. I'm just gonna say looter shooter aspects with gear, right? And then it has
Mm-hmm.
it has currency and all that. This was totally gonna be an Avengers style game. This was gonna be DC's
That's
or
what it
Warner
looks like.
Brothers Avengers game, but Avengers came out first, and that's it. And
Mm-hmm.
they saw how bad Avengers did, how much people hated it, and we're like,
Mm-hmm.
shit, what the fuck? Like, what do we
Abort.
do?
Abort.
Exactly. So what I think, my theory is they saw what happened with Avengers. They saw what happened with Outriders. They had to go back, and all that time they spent building up this games as a service game, they had to retool it to be an offline, a non-live service game, which probably took time. Had to rebalance a lot of shit and all
Mm-hmm.
that they didn't have time to optimize. And on top of the fact that they don't have a good history of optimization, I think it didn't help. You know what I mean? Not only do
Yes.
you have a bad history with optimization, but on top of that, your you probably had to use time to retool the game from being a games as a service game. So whatever
Mm-hmm.
optimization time they
Mm-hmm.
did have to build a performance mode. So I think it's coming. I think it's gonna come. I think they'll eventually have it at some point. They probably just haven't had any time to really work on it, and now's when they're probably doing it. So there's a 4-player update coming at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if they at least get it to a 40 FPS mode like other games are doing now. Like now 40 FPS
Mm-hmm.
seems to be the new like compromise. But I think we may not get many 30 FPS games, but I think 40 FPS is going to be like where these consoles push until FSR gets updated more and more, and maybe they figure out a way to software, push FSR. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But I think, yeah, I don't know.
I think it stinks. But no, I've seen a few reviews. It seems that it's kind of like if you're not expecting much from it, you might like it. I've
Mm,
seen some people like it, like literally for what it is, like go and punch some shit
yeah,
and
hell yeah.
and do whatever you got to do. That's why we were initially going to go ahead and get it.
Exactly. If
And
it,
then
if it
just
would have, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, finish your thought.
oh no, just it's just continued as the reviews came out. It just kept on going downhill and downhill with all the different things that came out about it. So it's like we're at a point. Is it even worth it for us to really buy it? Because one, I get nauseous on 30 FPS. So especially on like 3D stuff, if I can look around and stuff like that, I'm more or less going to get nauseous. I have to put my FOV all the way back. I've got to slow down my analogs, and I've got to slow everything down, and even have to on top of that throw my patches on so I'm not feeling sick within a half hour. So between that just kind of turning me off since it's locked on 30 FPS on consoles, we were going to get it on console because we've mentioned this before, the PlayStation game sharing.
Exactly. Like
So we
we could have
don't
shared the library, and I would have paid $60 for it. That would have been like 30 or 70, 35 and 35 or
exactly,
whatever.
that would have been more worth it. But
Yeah.
now to buy it on Steam when it's even seen on Steam, it's not even going up to 60 like a steady 60 a lot of the time either.
Yeah, I'm
So
hearing
it's like,
people
is
like,
that even
yeah,
like
exactly.
is that even worth it?
Like pretty much you would probably have to run it at 1080p, with
Yeah.
medium settings at most with a 2070. You know what I mean? Like just to
Mhm.
get it to run like decently. So me, I could probably run it like higher up, but yeah, it definitely you definitely would have had to lower it down. But it would have been, like I said, it's definitely an on sale game. Like when it goes on sale, definitely gonna probably cop it, or if it ends up on a service of some kind. That's a good Game Pass game. Like they should have just made a deal
Exactly.
with Microsoft at the end. They knew what they were releasing. They should have just said, "Hey,
Yes.
can we put this on Game Pass?" It would have been a great Game Pass game,
Exactly.
or a
Now they
PS
gotta pull
Plus
a
Premium, or whatever.
Ubisoft now and put the updates up to fix whatever they fucked up
I
on
know.
release.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm being hopeful that they will do that, because if they do that before like we have time to like buy it on sale, like I'll still get it on console, still at a discount. But if I hear they put some kind of performance mode, but if not, then yeah, probably just get it on PC once it goes down to $30, which it would have been the equivalent of what I would have paid had we bought one copy. Then
Mhm.
I'll say yeah, because it's gonna be on sale by Black Friday,
Of
100%.
course.
It's
Of
probably gonna be
course.
like the best Black Friday game you could buy, like for the price and the time that it got released.
Exactly. Exactly. Cause yeah, you can even get it on Epic and uh yeah.
Yeah, it really is
I don't know.
unfortunate though.
Yeah, it's a shame. I was kind of really looking forward to playing that because it gave us DC Universe vibes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I liked about it. You know what
And
I
I really
mean?
like DC Universe. So if it was gonna bring that back, then I would have been all it. But now it's just, I don't know. It's kind of a turn off. Kind of
It
a
is.
turn
It
off.
is. It's a big turnoff. So it's like, and what sucks even more is that $70 on console and 60 on PC. It's like, so you're getting the worst version for more money. Like they got some
No,
balls with this shit.
that's not it.
Like they really should just. It's just that you got to keep a certain look. Because if you release it at 60, it's like, oh, because it's bad. You know what I mean? Like you got to keep a certain look and keep a certain energy or whatever when you do these things. But it just sucks. So,
Yeah.
like, and it's giving like told you offline, like it's giving me the vibes of something like Ghost Recon. Because
Mhm.
Ghost Recon, remember,
Mhm.
it got bad reviews. It was mediocre. It wasn't all that great. Blah 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 blah. This and that. And then me and you play, and we were like, "Yo, this game is mad fun."
It was mad fun.
Like we had a great fucking time running around, being dickheads, and shooting at
Yes.
people and flying through mountains and getting helicopters and shit. That game was mad fun. That I'm like, yo, that's why I don't really care for reviews that much.
No,
I'll
exactly.
get a general feel, and from what I'm hearing, I know we're gonna have fun on Gotham Knights. Like I know we'll have
Yeah.
fun. I just not gonna spend $120 so we can both play it. Like I said, if it would have been at
No.
least 60 FPS, I would have totally said, let's just fuck with it for the next couple of weeks, play it, beat it, whatever, and grind through some of it. And you can be Batgirl and I can be one of the Robins, and let's just go kick ass on there and build
Yes.
that. It sounded like a great time.
Yes,
So it's
yes,
like
exactly.
I didn't care if it was mediocre. It's a solid 7. That's what it sounds like. It's a solid 7 of a game, where maybe even a 6, but it's still above average and decent enough to spend a few hours on, just to dick around in a giant city doing bullshit, beating people up. Like,
Mhm.
like how
Exactly.
bad could it be? You know what I mean? But just again, not 2 copies worth. That's for sure.
Nope. Nope.
you know well,
You
what
know what
is
might be?
oh fuck, you took the damn thing out of my mouth. Go ahead.
What might be worth it, so you can go and punch people in the face, is God of War
Hell yeah.
Ragnarok. Reviews are coming out and
Yeah, early impressions. Yep.
early impressions, excuse me. Yes, because you can't really talk about it just yet because they're all
Right.
coming out, what, November 3rd?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I've been
exactly. The
seeing.
embargo
November 3rd,
lifts
the
November
reviews will be
3rd.
out.
Yeah, so it's giving everybody 2 weeks to beat the game and then give impressions. Yep.
Exactly. So everybody who's got a review key is like, hey, I've got a key and I'm reviewing it. That's all I can say, but thumbs up.
That's confidence because the embargo on Batman on Gotham Knights lifted the
Yes.
day before.
Yup.
That's how you know. And it's happens every time. It happens every time. It's a strategy that they have to stick to, because they're praying that the commoners don't, who don't have time to read reviews, aren't paying attention and will buy the game before that word of mouth gets out. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I'm sure they're gonna get those day one sales. I'm sure tons of people still bought the game and are playing the shit out of it right now. So they're gonna make their money. But anyway, back to God of War. Yeah, some annoying impressions I've seen so far is that it's a PS4 game. Did you know that? Do you know that God of War is a PS4 game?
I thought it played on a potato.
Yeah, and apparently that's
the Series S.
That's what it's getting. That's what some. I just realized what you said. That's referring. We didn't talk about that, but that's referring to did we talk? Was that last week?
Yeah, last week.
That was last week, right? We did talk about that, right? How this guy said. Okay, I forgot we talked about that. But yeah. But yeah, like one of the criticisms is that God of War is it feels like a PS4 game. I'm like, a PS4 game feels like a PS4 game. You don't like the meme of Nicolas Cage, like really, like like you don't say.
Oh, the Willy Wonka.
Yeah, right. Tell me more about how a PS4 game looks like a PS4 game. Like, are you fucking kidding me? It's not next gen at all. Like, what the fuck? It's not supposed to be next gen. Like, all you should be bringing up is how it looks graphically on your PS5 if you're playing it on PS5, and that's all that matters. You can bring that up later, like but to say, oh, it definitely feels like a PS4 game, it's like I get it, everyone's entitled to their stupid ass opinions, but it's like, what you're doing when you say stuff like that on Twitter. And even though, yes, in a perfect world you should be able to say, and people say, oh, okay, that's cool, but no, you're starting controversy, that people can't contain them. You look, even me, I'm getting upset about the statement, because it's more like, I don't care, like, obviously it's just that now you're riling up the idiots. Like, why rile up the idiots? Like, like, I get it, it's not your problem that they're idiots, but you're still riling up the idiots. Like, just like, don't make a great game feel like any negative at all. It's like, without, like, I don't know, I just think it's stupid. And to say, oh, it's good so far, I've get more later, it's like, just say the whole thing. Like, and is it a criticism or it's just an observation? Like, I don't know, I just think it's dumb. And I don't know, what do you think about all that?
Yeah, no, I agree. There's the console war is very rough out there. It's very rough out there. So if you go and say stuff like that, you have people coming out of the woodworks being like, "Oh my God, see there, it's trash," and they take everybody's word as gospel. And I mean, you and I, because specifically the person who did call it a PS4 game, you and I already know their tastes. We don't really go too well with their tastes.
Yeah.
We don't match up with what they like. We
Their
are well
opinions,
aware
at
of
least.
that.
Yeah.
With their opinions. And Twitter is a place of shit posts.
Yeah, exactly.
For engagement. So and it's like, you don't want to get caught up in all that stuff, but because obviously we're looking forward to God of War. I can't wait. I'm looking so much.
And that's all that fucking matters. The fighting still really feels good. It's like, I don't understand what you like. People are like, oh, it feels a lot like the first one. Like, it's a direct sequel and it's supposed to. Like, Horizon feels like more of the same. But like, I'm sure there's moment to moments are going to be, I'm sure pacing is going to be different. I'm sure, there's going to be a lot of different things, but the fighting, like, and then you're talking about the first few hours. Of course, the first few hours are going to feel like, familiar. Like, that's the point. Yeah. So I'm sure as you gain more abilities, things are going to look and feel different. But yeah, I would assume it's the same battle system. Why the fuck would it be any different? I mean, you can tell that from the fucking trailer. Like, you could tell from the fucking trailer that it was going to be a lot of the same fighting, and the traversal is going to be similar. It's still going to be the boat, and and stuff like that. So it's like, say shit I say for me, it's like save your criticisms from when you beat the game. Then you can say, okay,
Exactly.
this, but I'm totally, just because they're, but in the reason why they're saying that, by the way, just, just to be fair, the reason why they're saying it feels like a PS4 game, and multiple people have said this, is the fact that there's still the corridor loading screen where you like walk between
Oh,
two
that you
thin
go
walls.
through the rocks and you just
Yeah.
like,
To
okay.
Yeah, Plague's Tale does that. And that's a next gen title. Plague Tale does that. It's the, it's like it doesn't feel like a last gen game because it has a hidden loading screen. Like, I'm sorry, like that's not a good reason for me. Like, what matters is
Yeah.
how fun is it? How big is the world? How like I'm sure it's gonna be similar sizes in like, it's probably gonna be the
Oh
same
yeah,
thing where you have like
exactly.
a general area you can travel around, and when you get into the nitty gritty of it, it's gonna be probably like a straight line with some branching paths, but it's probably gonna be,
Exactly.
you
No, the
know.
typical thing, just like the last game.
But there
It's
was
not
so
an
many,
open world. They're not
yeah,
advertising it as an open world. If they said it at any point it's an open world, then you don't expect those little hallways of load screens.
exactly.
And
It's the reason why those load screens exist is because it's highly detailed areas. So
yes.
you're not gonna get a load screen like that in GTA, but you're not getting the same level of detail that God of War, is you're gonna see in God of War, and the same high paced combat and all that. So it's like,
Mhm.
again, it's like there's so much detail in every world that they're in that it's like that's why there's gonna be a bit of a loading screen, even on
Mhm.
PS5. Yeah, so it's like, don't criticize. It's an end of a generation game. It wasn't built with next gen in mind. So using that as a thing to point out, it's like, all right, like what did you expect from that? Like
Exactly.
the pointing it out is just dumb to me. It's like, oh, it very much feels like a PS4 game. It's a PS4 game. Like, it's a PS4 game
Yeah.
first. That's
Exactly.
then updated to run on PS5. It's not a ground up next gen game. So it's like,
Mhm.
stop it with that shit. They're using the same engine. I'm sure they use a lot of the same techniques. And I'm sure
Yes.
the main part of the game design was done from like a year or two ago. So it's like, before the PS5 even came out, I'm sure a lot of that stuff was done already. So it's like, again, it's the same world
Yes.
from the first one. To expect a lot of the same little things like that. I just find it so dumb to even point that out. But like you said, it's Twitter, it's
Exactly.
engagement farming, it's a way to do that. But to me, it's like, it's a PS4 game. Like, it's supposed to be a PS4 game. It's going to be a highly detailed one. I'm sure it's going to look gorgeous.
Yes.
It's going to run. What
Yes.
is it? It's going to run. And then it has a bunch of like, what's really cool is it's going to have a bunch of graphic options. So you're going to have like
Ah.
your 4K 60, or you're targeting 4K, or your 4K 30. Then you're gonna have, that's like full fidelity. Then you're gonna have your performance mode targeting 60. Then you're gonna have like your, what is it, like your mixed mode, which is gonna target fidelity but keeping frame rate. And then you're gonna have the one, trying to maxing everything out. Let me see if I have it here really quick. But
Mhm. Mhm. I mean,
it's
while you pull it up, I'm just I'm looking forward to the story.
exact,
Like
and that
if by
too.
the end of it, if because even playing through the first one, it's the characters they grow. So now they're going to be and again, of course, we've spoken about this before, but eh, we're hoping to see some more character growth. We're going to see what's going to happen between Kratos. I'm sorry, I'm
Crater
thinking
and Roy.
Crater and Roy. Kratos and Atreus. Oh my god. Oh my god. It just popped in my head. Freaking Roy. And we're gonna see how they grow, how they're doing, how you doing, and where their new adventure, the story unfolding a little bit further, meeting new characters, meeting other people, discovering more things, seeing where all that goes. That's what I'm mainly looking for. If it looks gorgeous, that's going to be even nicer. Then I'm going to take even longer because I'm going to go take the scenic route and take my time. And
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I I don't care about these hot takes on Twitter when the review codes just barely came out, just trying to poke at stuff.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, shut the fuck up. But yeah, so going over resolutions, the graphic options. It's pretty much so you have 4K 30 locked, so that's probably the highest, and whatever favoring resolution. Then you have favor performance at 60 FPS locked. Then you have high frame rate, favor resolution high frame rate edition, and that's 4K 40 FPS, which is pretty cool. Like that to me is dope, because not only do you have performance mode straight up, and if you're somebody who doesn't mind 30 FPS, you have that. You have the best of the best there. You have the compromise of 40 FPS, which is doable in my opinion. Like I can handle being at 40. Not that it's still not ideal. I would prefer, obviously, I think 45 is a better sweet spot, but 40 is still much easier on the eyes than 30 flat. Like 30 locked is just isn't it. But I've done this on Steam Deck, because Steam Deck, to save battery, you can limit frame rate, and I did that for, I believe, I did that for a couple of the Persona 4 I was playing, and I did that for also, I think, Monster Hunter, that ran like locked at 60, and but I locked it at 45, and it wasn't bad. Like especially the smaller screen helps, but it's not as bad. Like it's so much easier on the eyes at 40. But still, if you want that 4K, detail, 40 FPS isn't a bad trade off. You know what I mean? And then they have favorite performance, high frame rate. That targets 120 FPS. Which is awesome. So if you want that extra smoothness to it, which I probably will never use, because you're taking another hit to resolution, but that's really cool though, that it'll target 120 FPS or whatever, so you get that extra smoothness. But I think the favorite performance 60 is probably going to be where I stay at, and that's cool. And 60 FPS locked, and none of this says targeted. The only one that says targeting, and the only one that says targeting is 120 FPS. The only one that says that means that you're getting a locked 60 FPS. That's great. That's enough for me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that it's not targeting. It's not gonna have dips or anything. And and like I said, the 40 FPS one also is locked at 40. So that to me that's great. You have so many options there, and I'm excited for that. And like I said,
absolutely.
And this one already says there are literally more iconic moments in this game's first 60 minutes than most games get in their entire runtime. See, so that's why I'm like, people are already kind of saying weird shit. It's like, yeah, these motherfuckers have such shit opinions. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like that, like you'll play a great game, and it's like you all you can do is shit on it, because you just have this incessant need to go against the grain. That's what it always feels like. And that's the shit that gets me so mad. It's like, you're literally just going against the grain just for the hell of it.
Exactly. That sucks. But you know what? We're gonna enjoy the hell out of it once it comes out. So, yes.
But yeah, I can't wait either. I'm super hyped for that, and I know I'm gonna have a good time. If just hearing the first hours already gonna be intense, like I'm ready. I'm so ready.
I know.
And I replayed the original one, in preparation, and it holds up so well. I highly recommend you do the same. In my opinion, it's a short
just go
game.
ahead and do the same. Exactly. How long was it again?
It's like a solid 20 hours. If you don't spend too much time on the side, I think I did it in closer to 30. But you got the Steam Deck, and it runs well on the Steam Deck. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It runs well on the Steam Deck. Like, it's enough that if you want to just get like a mission in at a time, just to see some of that story, and I think you can do it. I mean, you beat Yakuza Kiwami, and you beat freaking 3. Like, if you can do that, you can beat God of War. God of War is shorter than both of those games. So and that's what I'm excited for too. It's a nice compact game that it's gonna have tons of side stuff to stay in that world, and the story's it's gonna be nice and sweet. I think 16.5 hours of straight story is gonna be dope. Like, I'm excited for that. And it's still gonna take me probably like 30 hours, because I'll probably still do some side stuff in the mix.
Yes, me too. That's like in the first one, I never beat the Valkyries, and that's always been something that I wanted to go back to, and I just never.
I know,
did.
me too. And now when I beat it the second time, it's like the fighting felt so good. I was like ready to stay, and then Valheim.
That's what happened exactly. I was playing Yakuza 3, and then Valheim.
Yeah.
I would still try to load up Yakuza, trying to be Uncle Kaz.
Dad sim. Yep, we all love the dad
But
sim.
then Valheim he freaking came into play. Damn
Yep.
it, Valheim. But yeah, no. I might just do that. Maybe look for a discounted price for God of War.
Hell
And
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, this one went a little long today. Yeah, we had a lot of stuff to go over. So yeah,
It
we
was a
definitely
lot.
went a lot longer. But for anybody watching still here on YouTube, thank you again for participating and being here. Appreciate you guys. Be on the lookout for what happened. Something happened.
Hmm?
Oh, you look like you looked at something.
Oh no, I was just pulling up my thing here because you're not looking at my last link there.
We'll talk about it.
So it's just a really quick thing, but if you're a fan of Tunic, Fangamer announced a pre-order of the fox. So cute. Look at it.
Yay!
Look at it. So
Amen.
cute. So if you go to fangamer.com, you can pre-order that thing.
That's nice.
It's
Mine.
so cute.
We can only buy one and it's mine.
Tunic. How dare you? Fight over it.
But you're gonna have to fight with baby girl over that.
I know. We have too many game plushies already.
But yeah, again, if you're not already following, follow at VGXL Podcast or Video Games X Life everywhere else. I'll probably be live again this Sunday, so definitely check that out. And yeah, we can follow Fefer
At Fefer on Twitch, and Fefer plays everywhere else.
places.
On Instagram.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.